The second season of Hori and Miyamura is here. In response to the requests of fans, the production team was finally willing to release the plot that was omitted from the first season. At the beginning of this season, everyone started taking a break from school and traveling. This was Yuki's first time in Kyoto, so she was very excited the whole time. In contrast, Miyamura looked worried. Because the hotel does not have a separate bathroom, he has to go to the large bathhouse to take a shower. But the tattoos on his body cannot be discovered. In other words, there was no way he could take a bath here. Soon they arrived at the uniformly arranged dormitory. But since they didn't bring the key, they could only wait for Yura to come and open the door. Seeing Mizuchi's classmates coming, the two people quickly asked him if he had seen Yura. After finally entering the room, the first thing Miyamura did was check the bathroom facilities. At this time it was time to take a bath. Without saying a word, Yura dragged Miyamura to the bathhouse and wanted to take a bath with him. Seeing that he could not refuse, Miyamura could only quickly ask Ishikawa for help. At this time Ishikawa finally reacted. In desperation, he actually said that Miyamura's menstrual period was coming and he couldn't take a bath. The friends were all shocked. But in order to escape from the bathhouse, Miyamura could only admit the incident with tears. After the crisis was resolved, Miyamura left here as soon as possible. But as soon as he turned around, he met Hori. When he learned that Miyamura had used the excuse of his menstrual period to escape, Hori couldn't help but laugh. Seeing Miyamura's pitiful appearance, Hideo softened. She told Miyamura that her roommate was not here and he could go in and take a shower now. 2.5 minutes later, Miyamura came out of the bathroom after taking a shower. He asked worriedly if other boys had similar problems, would she let others in like this? Without even thinking about it, he said, "Of course not." But the next second Miyamura asked her again why she let herself in. Hori was so shy that his face turned red. She told Miyamura stammeringly. Anyway, she knew that with Miyamura's character he wouldn't do anything bad even if he came in. After hearing this, Miyamura thanked him. Immediately he left here. The next day, while everyone was playing, Hori found Miyamura. She told Miyamura that if he wanted to take a shower, she could try to take Yuki out. However, Miyamura unexpectedly refused. It turns out that Miyamura discovered a secret. That is, people who miss bathing time can take a bath after 11 p.m. As long as he passes by this time period, he doesn't have to worry about being seen with his tattoo. Although the problem was solved, for some reason we felt unusually disappointed. The school trip will be over in a blink of an eye. Yuki took many photos as souvenirs. She hopes that if there is a chance in the future, everyone can come out to play together. After returning to school, Miyamura accidentally got his clothes wet by Ayazaki. Out of guilt, she took Miyamura to the health room herself. Moreover, she considerately took out a towel and let Miyamura wipe it a little. But seeing that Miyamura would rather catch a cold than take off his sweater, Ayazaki couldn't help but be curious. Miyamura seems to be very concerned about his body. Whether it's when you're on vacation or traveling or when your school holds a marathon, he didn't seem to want anyone to see his naked body. Just when Miyamura was at a loss, Ayazaki suddenly stretched out his hand. It turns out that she actually suspected that Miyamura was disguised as a man. This bold guess also left Miyamura speechless. After finally getting rid of Ayazaki's entanglement, Miyamura came to the rooftop and told Ishikawa about the incident. So Ishikawa gave Miyamura an idea and asked him to wear a sailor suit. After all, he had seen him wear it before and it felt very good. It turns out that just a few days ago, Hori gave Miyamura his junior high school sailor uniform. She wanted him to have time to wear it for herself. Looking at Hori-san's sailor uniform, Miyamura said he didn't want it. But the next second his body honestly began to change clothes. After getting dressed, he stood in front of the mirror and began to admire it. Unexpectedly, this outfit fits surprisingly well. At this moment, Ishikawa came to Miyamura's home. So he was lucky enough to see the limited edition Miyamura wearing a sailor suit. Miyamura wanted to explain again, but Ishikawa didn't seem to care at all. It turns out that Ishikawa likes sailor uniforms very much. He thinks that girls wearing sailor suits can highlight their beautiful silhouette. He also wanted Miyamura to grow his hair long. In this way he can enjoy it anytime and anywhere in the future. However, Miyamura felt that Western-style uniforms looked better than sailor uniforms. The two of them had a heated argument over the girl's dress. At this time, President Sengoku happened to pass by. After the two stopped him together, they asked him what type he liked. While the three were having a heated discussion, hidden behind the rooftop was silently eavesdropping on their quarrel. The next day, the teacher called Miyamura and the president. He told them that although swimming was an optional course, everyone must participate on the last day. You can only ask for leave unless there are extremely special circumstances. After hearing the news, the two became anxious instantly. Because if they were asked to take off their clothes in front of everyone, it would be like attending English class naked. Seeing how resistant the two were, the teacher no longer forced them. But they need to have a valid reason. In this way, the two were assigned to clean the pool on the day of swimming lessons. By chance, Hori and Ayazaki passed by after finishing their class. The boy who heard the female classmate's voice quickly ran out of the swimming pool. On this day, Hori unexpectedly saw Miyamura talking and laughing with his female desk mate. The chill she felt at this moment made Ishikawa's hair stand on end. After returning home, Miyamura lay down on the ground and explained to Hori. It was just because the female desk mate forgot to bring her textbook, so the two of them read it together. However, after learning the result, Hori was still unwilling to give up. She slowly wanted to get closer to Miyamura and let him know how powerful she was. However, Miyamura used the position he had practiced for 2.5 years, so he was not caught for a long time, until finally he was forced to have no way out. At this moment Miyamura looked aggrieved. He said he had done nothing wrong and did not deserve such punishment. Seeing Miyamura's aggrieved look, we felt pity and let him go for the time being. When he came to school the next day, Hori told his good friend Yuki what happened yesterday. She said it was really scary when she was jealous. After a while Yuki had to leave temporarily because of something else, so Hori took on her task. However, because Hideo was wearing too few clothes, he started sneezing soon after. This time a classmate in Mizuchi who happened to be passing by saw it, so he lent his coat to Hori. Not long after Mizuchi left, Miyamura came here. Seeing another boy's coat covering Hori's legs, he asked her, and Miyamura took the coat directly from Hori's legs, and he put his sweater back on. Because Miyamura has been wearing the sweater, it is warmer than the jacket. And the two of them sat next to each other and started chatting. Not long after, Miyamura noticed Gunai coming over, so he quickly changed his clothes. And he hugged Hori tightly and left the scene in a hurry. After Hori returned the clothes to Mizuchi, Miyamura reappeared in front of Hori. The annual school sports meeting is coming. In order to make the competition fair, each class divided the students into 2 teams, east and west, by drawing lots. Miyamura, Ishikawa, Kono, Sakura and Ayazaki were assigned to the west team. Hori, Sengoku, Yura and Yuki were assigned to the east team. As soon as the speech ended, President Sengoku, who was still full of confidence, became extremely decadent, because he had expected that he would be embarrassed during the sports meeting. Turns out that Sengoku-kun's movement bacteria have never been very good. Therefore he never looked forward to the sports meeting. Miyamura also didn't want to participate because he didn't have good memories of his previous campus life. So the two hit it off and came to the window to pray for rain. Afterwards Sakura Kono checked the grouping situation. She learned that she and Ishikawa were a couple. She couldn't help but feel a little happy. It suddenly occurred to her that she didn't fit in with the cheerleaders last year. If Ishikawa saw her like that, she would definitely be regarded as a fool. The way home, Miyamura and Hori talked about the sports meeting projects. Hori said that he would not give in to him on purpose. At the same time, she also hopes that Miyamura can go all out. Of course, she will cheer for him too. After hearing what Hori said, Miyamura, who originally hated sports meets, started to look forward to it a little bit. Time came on the day of the sports meeting. President Sengoku took the stage as a representative of all students and delivered a speech. However, except for his hair, the president's whole person looked lifeless. After the speech, the sports meeting officially started. First event is the 100-meter hurdles. Hori and Ayazaki were assigned to a group. Thinking that he would definitely not be able to outrun Hori, Ayazaki couldn't help but have a headache. Seeing Miyamura cheering for the West team, Ayazaki thought of a plan. He directly threatened Ri with Miyamura's ownership rights. This way, under Ayazaki's mind-attacking technique, Hori was pulled away as soon as he started running. Seeing that the opponent's evil plan succeeded, Hori was so angry that he kicked over the railing. However, this behavior also resulted in a lot of wasted time. Seeing that his opponents have reached the finish line, Hideo is ready to give up. This time Miyamura suddenly cheered for Hori loudly. Immediately gained momentum. In the end, Hori finished 4th and Ayazaki was the winner. Then Miyamura found Hori. Seeing Miyamura coming, Ayazaki left the scene very wisely. Miyamura then asked Hori if his leg was okay. After all, she was kicking off the railing and making a lot of noise. Hori looked arrogant and said it was okay. She started to blame Miyamura. It was all because of him that she lost. Came the borrowed object race. As one boy was absent due to a cold, the teacher approached Miyamura. Hopes he can come on as a substitute. However, by chance Miyamura happened to meet Hori in the substitute group. What's even more coincidental is that the person they wanted to borrow turned out to be the Sengoku Guild Master. This way Hori and Miyamura dragged the president to the finish line at the same time. After the game, the president looked at their envelopes. Said, "Student Council President," which made him unable to refute. Top of Miyamura is a thin boy. Came the final event of the competition, the horse riding competition. As it is necessary to choose boys who are underweight at the top. For Miyamura and Chairman Sengoku were chosen. The president, who had not wanted to participate in the first place, was even more sad when he learned that it was because of his weight. Seeing the president so depressed, Yura stepped forward to cheer him up. However, when the president was put on top, he suddenly felt a condescending general-like feeling. He was full of energy instantly. For the president took the lead in launching an attack on Miyamura. Miyamura then seized the opportunity to counterattack. After several rounds of competition, it didn't have much effect. Looking at this situation, Miyamura felt that if this continued, it would only consume his physical strength. He thought of a plan. This goes to force Chairman Sengoku to turn around. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Miyamura won the game effortlessly. Though he lost the game, seeing Miyamura so happy, the president also smiled happily. In the East team won the game with a 5-point lead. After the game, the girls had to take pictures together. Hori changed into a cheerleading uniform. Originally, Miyamura was really looking forward to Hiro wearing a cheerleading uniform. He never expected that Hori would just change into another pair of sportswear. This day, Miyamura and Hori were reviewing their lessons in the kotatsu. Father-in-law just wanted to get into the kotatsu to warm himself up, but he was ruthlessly rejected. As the kotatsu was so comfortable, they fell asleep together soon after. It was already late at night when Miyamura woke up. Afterwards he wanted to go to the bathroom to relax. However, after struggling for a while he discovered that several people's legs were tied tightly inside the kotatsu. He didn't move at all. Then Hori was woken up by Gong. As soon as she came up, Miyamura cried out in pain. And after my father-in-law also woke up. As soon as he got up he screamed in pain. Miyamura saw that his brother-in-law was still sleeping and wanted to wake him up. He wanted him to go back to his room and sleep in case he caught a cold. As Miyamura couldn't bear it anymore, he told them to be patient. He wants to break out violently. This time Hori found that he seemed to be able to pull out one leg. This Miyamura also started to try. After his legs were freed he immediately ran to the toilet. 3 people learned from the experience and came up with a solution. As long as they sleep in one direction they can avoid having their legs tangled together. Next day Miyamura came to Hori's house again. As it was already midnight when I woke up last time, Miyamura decided to study until 7 o'clock this time and then go home. Hori didn't have much confidence in this. Expected when Hori woke up again it was already 12 o'clock in the evening. This time Miyamura was still sleeping soundly. Only that there was also a Sengoku guild master in the kotatsu. Turned out that just a few hours ago my father-in-law met Seanshur on his way back. Hori's father Sengoku suddenly remembered his father's advice. Meets the Jew family, he cannot be led around and must strike first. Why, something bad will happen to him. Word Seanshur quickly made excuses to leave. But before he could finish speaking the other party stopped him directly. This way the fairy stone was forcibly brought back by the father-in-law. The two chatted for a while, they felt too sleepy and fell asleep. This time Miyamura was still immersed in his dream of playing online games. However, he successfully formed a team with the president in his dream. Miyamura woke up from his dream and discovered that Seanshur had actually come here. Afterwards he complained to the two of them. Before he could eat or take a shower his father forcibly took him here. Hori asked Miyamura to go wash with him. Miyamura whispered to Hori that his tattoo could not be discovered. Thinking for a while Sengoku remembered about taking a break from school and traveling. That time he deliberately staggered the time when he took a shower. Miyamura explained that he didn't want to be seen by others because he was skinny. Statement obviously cannot convince Seanshur. This day Shindo accidentally sent an apology email to his girlfriend to Miyamura. This time Miyamura was still sleeping soundly at Hori's home. Hori checked his mobile phone emails. Seeing the content of the email he was shocked. Quickly woke up Miyamura wanting him to get up and explain. Asleep and half awake Miyamura directly handed over Shindo's name. Made Hori angry and punched him hard. Miyamura finally woke up. He realized that Hori was angry. To make her happy Miyamura personally helped her peel tangerines. This time Hori suddenly remembered the plan he had made for himself. He could only eat 2 meals a day. Miyamura tried to lure Hori to eat the orange. That all methods were unmoved, Miyamura thought of a secret weapon. And if you don't eat I will kiss you. What Miyamura said, Hori blushed instantly, and waited for Miyamura to feed him. Miyamura took advantage of the gap between Hori's words and fed her oranges mouth to mouth. Of the time when he ate sweets before he also fed them like this. Be that this is Miyamura's hobby. The more Hori thought the more outrageous he became. Unsightly picture emerged in his mind. Stayed the two went shopping together in the supermarket and happened to meet Sengoku's father. Miyamura coming, he quickly held Miyamura's shoulders. Told him that he must hold on and not be affected by the atmosphere of the Jew family. Stay home, Hori told Miyamura. Parents and Sengoku's father graduated from the same high schools, so they knew each other very well. The two returned home from the supermarket. Sengoku and Sengoku's father had been abducted. The father-in-law and Zaienchi's father started a debate about the family tradition. Dad's talking about love. Hori and Miyamura asked Sengoku in a low voice what was going on. Sure said that he wanted to tell him. Just that he didn't find a suitable opportunity, so he kept it secret. Shortly afterwards the two parents began to argue about having a girlfriend during high school. The dispute turned into exposing each other's high school pasts. That the two of them had such a good relationship, Miyamura couldn't help but feel a little envious. Morning, Jingpu told his sister that he received a phone call yesterday. The phone was a boy named Baiyuan looking for her. This my sister blushed instantly. Asked her brother why didn't she answer the phone instead. Made no secret that he heard a boy's voice. He hung up the phone directly. This made my sister very angry. Picked up the pillow and threw it at him. School the next day, Yura was planning to hang out with everyone. Time he suddenly received a message from his sister. Told her brother that some classmates would come to study at home tonight. Asked Jingpu to play outside for a while without being in a hurry to come back. When Jingpu saw this message, he immediately noticed something was wrong. Time my sister had already prepared tea and snacks at home. Just waiting for Kitahara-san to come to my house as a guest. That her brother was coming to cause trouble, the younger sister complained loudly to her brother. Doesn't he have a girlfriend and come home so early every day? Who doesn't want to have a girlfriend? Just other people making love to each other in school every day, and he is very envious. After Kitahara came to Jingpu's home. At this extremely dangerous boy, Jingpu didn't give him a good look. What he served to him was the bitterest. This operation did not make Baiyuan retreat. He came more and more frequently. Sometimes he was so fascinated by Jingpa's face that he didn't even notice his sister talking to him. Not long after my sister came home feeling depressed. Told her brother that she could no longer understand Kitahara-san. All because of my brother who is the culprit. Yuan still often chats with him. She always had the feeling that his motives were impure. Came to school the next day, Yura told everyone about his sister. Learning that her brother had stolen her love, Hori and Yuki couldn't help but sympathize with their sister. Help but complain about Jingpu, which made Jingpu very depressed. And explained that he just wanted to protect his sister at first. Expect things to develop to this point. Girls. That in order to solve this problem, Yura has been hiding from Kitahara. As luck would have it, Baihara came to their school on the campus visit day the next day. He saw Baihara. Yura quickly hid. Because they were lost, several people from Kitahara came to ask Ishikawa. Ishikawa finished telling them he was ready to leave. Yura thought he had escaped. Hori and Ayazaki came over. Said Yura's name loudly and asked him not to block the way. By the power of Hori, Jingpu had no choice but to walk out reluctantly. The senior he liked, Kitahara, chased after him and grabbed Jingura. To dispel Baihara's thoughts, Yura yelled at him directly, telling him to put study first. When as he finished speaking, he was taught a lesson by the teacher. As the teacher left here with a few people who were lost, several people came to the student union room to discuss the matter. When that the junior fellow student was his sister's classmate, it suddenly dawned on him. It's out that he is the one who likes Jingpu. Several people from Gongsun came to Xianqi's house as guests. When several people were sleeping, they found that the room was too small and someone needed to go to the attic to make do for the night. Zura volunteered and expressed that he wanted to sleep in the attic. Kawa woke up Miyamura, who was already asleep, and wanted him to move his sleeping position. While of tossing, several people fell asleep under the arrangement of the fairy stone. This time he discovered that there was no place for him at all. He wanted to wake up Miyamura and ask him to squeeze in with him. This time several people had already fallen asleep and no one paid any attention to him. As several people were already asleep, Xianxue walked around the room helplessly. Yura came down from the attic and planned to go to the toilet. As Sengoku was still asleep, Jingura asked what was going on. Adding the reason, he called Ishikawa. Bara was still in his sleep, unable to extricate himself. After discussion, it was decided to let the lighter Miyamura and Sengoku sleep together in the attic. Several people moved Miyamura to the top together. Senshi suddenly remembered. Miyamura had always covered his body before. He wanted to take this opportunity to find out. Just as he was about to take action, Jingura, who had forgotten his cell phone, came to the attic. Seen in front of him, Jingpu looked shocked. He expressed his respect for Sengoku's hobby. Planned to slowly leave the scene of the crime. That Jingura had a misunderstanding, Sengoku quickly explained to him. What couldn't help but worry after learning that Sengoku was interested in Miyamura's body. They told Xianxue that he could stand up the table next to him. That he can sleep in the vacated space. The next morning, Ishikawa was awakened by the obscene laughter in Yura's dream. Slapped him without saying a word. Miyamura was still sleeping soundly. Sengoku suddenly thought that this was a great opportunity to peek into Miyamura's secrets. They told the two of them that he could wake him up. After hearing this, Ishikawa looked at him with disgust. Later said that he wanted to go too. And several people came to the attic together. He expressed that he wanted to exchange places with Yura. Iwa was afraid that Sengoku would take off Miyamura's clothes. He improved that he must not change. What extraordinary things Senshi will do to Miyamura. What means is that you treat fairy stones as perverts, okay? I couldn't see Miyamura's secret. Sengoku still didn't give up. Planned to trick Miyamura again. In the union room that day, Sengoku expressed that he wanted to exchange clothes with Miyamura. Miyamura, who had no sense of crisis, agreed immediately. As Miyamura's secret was about to be revealed, Ishikawa directly slapped the pen holder on the table to the ground. The falling to the ground attracted Sengoku's attention. Went around again, Miyamura had already changed his clothes. Sengoku's plan failed and he decided to go it alone. Miyamura, why he refused to let him take off his clothes. Miyamura was frightened by him. Will Ayazaki and Sengoku go home together? Aki, who was still wearing a skirt in the middle of winter, was shivering from the cold. Ayazaki put his hand on Sengoku's face. Ayazaki stretched out his hand in front of Sengoku. But looked at Ayazaki's hand and didn't understand what it meant. After looked at each other for a while, Ayazaki finally took the initiative and said he wanted to hold hands. And the two of them walked hand in hand on the way home. So arrived in front of Ayazaki's house. Before separated, she told Xianxue that she wanted a hug. Although Xianxue was a little overwhelmed, he still satisfied her. At hug, Ayazaki was still not satisfied. She to continue kissing. But thought that Xianxue would actually refuse such a good opportunity. There was that he feels it is inappropriate to be on the street now. Yuki accidentally saw a novel in which the bodies of the male and female protagonists were swapped. She began to make her own associations. And she exchanged all the classmates around her. Joking about it like this, she couldn't help but laugh. The Ishikawa on the side was also slapped inexplicably because of Yuki's fantasy. They had a big brainstorm and defeated Ishikawa and Lu Mingying. But second, she suddenly thought of a question. That after the body swap, it is easier for the boys to talk to each other. But men and women are swapped. What should they do when going to the toilet and taking a shower? Are we open the door to a new world? As Yuki came to the library to study. At Lu Mingying, who was passing by, accidentally scattered the book on the ground. So he quickly ran over and helped him pick it up. When he touched his book, he felt unexpectedly cold. Then he touched her gently with the back of her hand. Hers were indeed much warmer than his own. After Yuki found Ishikawa and said that his hands were cold. But Ishikawa did not understand her intentions. Yuki told Ishikawa that Lu Mingying would not be like him. So stopped touching Yuki and asked Yuki how this was. How he said that it was not that he was not allowed to touch it. Listen, Yuki's inconsistent demands. The straight man Ishikawa's brain almost shut down. He could figure out what Yuki wanted to do. So Ishikawa thought for a while and asked Yuki if he wanted to hold hands. Yuki's furious refused without thinking. When it was over, Miyamura saw a scarf under the teaching building. At him, Satian ran over from behind him. After they looked at each other for a while, Sawada ran over and picked up the scarf. He looked at Satian in front of him, and then at the two girls on the teaching floor. Mi, who had been there before, immediately understood what was going on. At Satian picked up the scarf and was about to leave. But stopped her. He asked her if she was being bullied, and if so, to come to him. Hesitated for a moment, then walked over. How Miyamura endured it when he learned that his love rival was being bullied. So he raised his head and wrote an allegro to the two girls. On Sawada said that Miyamura couldn't understand him at all. Because so many friends, no one agrees with his views. But you know that Miyamura had experienced her moment before. At them he was even 100 times more miserable than she was. Later Miyamura told Sawada that he did not lower his head and beg the people around him to be friends. They did naturally. As it she met today, she could just ignore it from now on. When they ask for something from you will win. The next Etienne came to school. See busy classmates in the class, she actually wanted to be friends with everyone. But she didn't know what to do, so she felt uncomfortable sitting in the classroom. So they came outside. At the Miyazaki and Yuki happened to pass by. Seeing it was outside, they called Zetian to an empty classroom. So asked the two of them if they were weird. Ayu said that it is indeed weird, but this weird look is very cute. So told the two of his troubles. Ayu said that if you have any troubles in the future you can complain to them. Although they didn't do much to help her. But let her talk about her grievances, they can still do this kind of thing. After Sawada was in the classroom and heard members of the art department worrying about where to put the posters. They took effort to stick it up in an inconspicuous place. See, poster was not put up while Zetian thought about putting it up again. At that, Sengoku and Ayazaki came over. So that he made a large poster because his classmates' club couldn't recruit people. But their place to post it, so I posted here. Soku looked at the poster. According to regulations, posters cannot go beyond the frame. Here, said Zetian, thought he couldn't post it here. But the poster is so high up one person can't reach it. So the water ride on his shoulders and slowly tore off the poster. After two took Zetian to the shoe-changing cabinet. Then they did the positions of the other posters. Seng posted the art club poster in the most conspicuous place. At this, Zetian felt strange, so he asked the fairy stone. Aren't graders not allowed to use the poster wall here? Aya said that this little thing is nothing. Our guild master covers the sky with one hand and can do whatever he wants. In fact, place is used by the whole school. It's just most of them were promoted in the 3rd grade, so everyone misunderstood them. After that there was such a misunderstanding, Xianxue said. He will school-wide notice here later. That's Zishin's secret operation. The art department welcomed a new member of the 1st grade. After that it was Zetian who helped two people in the class came to express their gratitude to Zetian. On the Miyamura just said hello to Lu Mingying, who came home from school. Horimiya couldn't bear it anymore. Just he called Lu by name when he greeted him. This very unhappy. Seeing Miyamura thought she was jealous of men again and quickly argued with Hori. He said he and Lu were not particularly close. But that's the point. The point is that he called someone else's name. Upon this, Miyamura quickly said that he would also call Hori by his name in the future. Just Zaki came with cookies and asked where Yanagi-san had gone. Aya was a little disappointed to learn that he had left. Because these are just for him. While Nayazaki were fighting for cookies, Miyamura heard a passing classmate say that the bus would be delayed. He remembered Lu took the bus home. Moreover, it was very windy outside and several people couldn't help but feel worried. As if Lu Jing was standing alone in the howling cold wind. At this, the 3 people finally rushed over. They told about the bus delay. Only Mr. Lu realized that the 2 of them had come to inform him specifically. Lu very happily. At this, Miyamura bought hot drinks and came to the station. Looking at Coco they handed him, Lu was a little flattered. The next, in order to get everyone to get rid of the bad habit of being late. Liu's teacher decided to strictly control the lateness problem in the next week. The full names of the winning students will be posted outside for everyone to enjoy. Hearing Lu, who had always had difficulty getting out of bed, was in trouble. To this came to the student union to ask for help. After discussed it, everyone will call Lu tomorrow to make sure he gets up on time. The next came. Liu's clock rang. After picking up, Lu turned off the alarm clock and checked the time drowsily. After Imara and Ishikawa called him, but Yanagi hung up immediately because he was angry. In the end, Sengoku's funny email that woke him up. After at the school, Lu expressed his gratitude to several people. But Ishi, who was hung up without saying a word, was still a little hurt. After, Lu went to the vending machine to buy a drink. At this, Inshur saw him and wanted to come forward and say hello. As Ryu was so frightened that she accidentally bought the wrong drink. So quickly apologized to him. But Lu didn't matter. Seeing speaking honorifics to her, Sengoku asked him why communicate normally with his classmates and Yuki, but he says honorifics to other people. Lu said on his mind without even thinking. He wouldn't honorifics to people he was close to or wanted to be close to. Hearing Xianshur was greatly shocked. Even tried hard to explain, it seemed to be getting darker and darker. Then around the student union room, Ishikawa and Yura saw the lifeless Sengoku. So they asked what was going on. It turned out he was dumped by Lu. After the two of them started to enlighten him. After, Lu basically doesn't know how to use honorifics to everyone, but he has a good relationship with everyone. Sometimes even eat the same thing. So after two people's enlightenment, Xianshur said that he would not worry about it anymore. But what Oa didn't expect was that everyone actually liked Lu more than they thought. After Xianshur, who had not yet come out of the shadow of broken love, came to the vending machine again. At this, came over to say hello to Xianshur. Seeing reluctantly talking to him using ordinary communication methods, Xianshur finally understood. It turned he had misunderstood it all along. So he had to use his own convenient way of talking. After Kura and Lu were playing in the corridor. Seeing the relationship between the two is so good, Xianshur also wants to use this method to enhance his relationship with Lu. So Isha next to him said that he could imitate Yura. This way at least become as close as they are. When he was going to imitate Jingura's behavior, Sengoku immediately backed down. Seeing Goku was reluctant to take action, Ishikawa planned to show him a demonstration. In order, Sengoku wanted to use Ishikawa's body to practice first. Unexpected, what he imitated was completely different. Moro also succeeded in making Ishikawa experience the feeling of being attacked by a pervert. The conversation between the two happened to be heard by Miyamura, who was passing by. He thought playing a pervert game. Sengoku is the pervert, and Ishikawa plays the persecuted Yanagi. The conversation between the two left Xianshur speechless for a while. At this, Yanagi and Yura were attracted by their noise. Ishikawa that Sengoku wanted to look like Yura. But Lu would be fine for him to stay as he is now. In the office, Yasuda was sleeping. A group of girls quietly gathered around him. They tied her into cute little braids. When he came to the classroom without knowing the truth, the whole class looked at him in disbelief. Although it knows that he is a perverted teacher who likes female high school students. But they did expect that the condition had deteriorated to this point. Then hoed up and wanted to ask what happened to his hair. But after it in for a long time, she couldn't say it out. Then Mi asked him in a subtle way what the theme of today was. However, who didn't know the truth certainly didn't understand what he meant. Just then, who had overslept and was late hurried into the classroom. After this image of Yasuda, she burst out laughing. Then the whole burst into laughter. Seeing this laughing, he thought there was something wrong with their heads. Afterward, he took out a mirror and asked him to take a look at her beautiful face. After reaching the office, he began to complain about Mr. Terashima next to him. She actually told him that a female classmate was braiding her hair. She also herself to miss a great opportunity to have close contact with her female classmates. At this, Suda discovered that the key to the reference room was missing. The female told him that the current key person is the center teacher. And it was the one who used the data room yesterday. Later, you found the center teacher and asked him to return the key in time. However, the teacher said that he had put it back in place yesterday. Then he took pocket, and the key was actually still in his pocket. Yasuda was speechless that such a careless person could keep the key. But the more rated thing is still behind. At this, the key fell out of his pocket. The center took a closer look and found that these were actually the bicycle keys he had lost in the summer. You know it's winter now. After he came to the corridor alone. I saw the teacher dropping things while walking. Yuki picked the key and asked him if his pocket was torn. And it just happened that she had her sewing box with her. Afterwards came to an empty classroom. Yuki took needle and thread and started to mend the teacher's clothes. Seeing the people chatting and laughing happily inside, the two people passing by outside the classroom couldn't bear it anymore. Ishikawa of losing his button in the summer. When Yuki just asked him to sew it back on his own. However, he saw her sewing up Mr. Zongfeng's clothes herself. The straight Ishikawa became jealous instantly. At this time, he had just finished sewing the pocket for teacher Zhongfen. Center guest and asked Yuki why she carried needle and thread with her. Yuki told it was because there was an idiot around him who often broke off his buttons. But recently, for unknown reason, he stopped telling himself. During the lunch, Miyamura, Ishikawa, and Yura came to the student union room to taste cakes. Unexpectedly, Suda passed by the door and mistakenly thought that they were reading study materials together. So he interrupted them. Later, he brought people to the student guidance room for lectures. He originally to criticize a few people for bringing cakes to school. Unexpected, the topic of discussion was directly led astray by them. They had been discussing Yasuda's home address and his relationship issues. In the end, because I was constantly poked by several people. Yasuda, desperate for life, reluctantly put them back. Before Miyamura told him that he would come back to take away the cake in the evening and hoped that he could ice it and preserve it after school. In the evening, Hori and Sengoku fell asleep in the student council room and were locked inside. Sengoku called the teacher on duty for help before he woke up. But I didn't expect that my phone was out of battery and shut down. Then Hori. After learning the situation, she began to blame Seensure. She blamed Ku while calling for help. Not long, Hori called the teacher on duty and called over. Yasuda two were lingering and making out in the student union room. So he called them to the office to talk. When he came the next day, Miyamura found out about Sengoku and asked him about his situation. He wanted to since she didn't do anything to Hori. The scene and a very strange classmate recently came to Miyamura's class. Not only take photos of Miyamura with his cell phone all the time. Moreover, he sends love towards him from time to time. Even when Miyamura, he would bring his own beautification filter. After ritual at night, hiding behind the door, he noticed something unusual. She walked Miyamura and sniffed around him. Sure enough, smells like other men. Usually it's like Shindo or Ichikawa. But the smell different today. This smelled to be what Abe Stan who coveted Miyamura's beauty. Afterwards, Miyamura smelled his sleeves and felt that there was no difference. Hori said he didn't need to know, he just needed to be able to identify it. However, Mi said, in this way he is with others, he won't be able to smell it. Isn't this fair? When he came the next day, Miyamura was still struggling with what happened yesterday. Seeing that people were chatting, Miyamura walked up to them and sniffed them one by one. He wanted a difference in their smells. Although Miya's behavior is very strange. But as boyfriend, after thinking about it, they didn't think it was strange. When he got home evening, Miyamura called Shindo over. Miyamura asked Shindo to close his eyes with a sullen face. Shindo was at a loss. He didn't know what Miyamura was going to do. Could it be that he wanted to take this opportunity to take revenge on himself? After the tea, Miyamura came up to Shindo and smelled it. In the indoor education class that day, Miyamura was playing table tennis with his classmates. Watanabe side has been taking photos of his beloved Miyamura. Looking at his behavior, Ishikawa said that Miyamura already had a girlfriend. And he also had a good relationship with boys from other schools. Watanabe didn't care. After all, Miyamura is really cute when he has a girlfriend. As for having a relationship with a boy from another school, he prefers it. Later, Miyamura over and asked them to play table tennis together. In Watanabe's, Miyamura comes with his own filters and flash effects. When he got home, Hori felt the strong smell of Watanabe on Miyamura's body. So she became curious with Miyamura. At this time, Miyamura still didn't understand. He clearly had physical contact with Watanabe, so why was she discovered? Hori said nothing to do with whether there was physical contact. Although Shin and Ishikawa are both excessive. But Watanabe are superior to other men. Because he has long interest in Miyamura, he is the man most likely to snatch Miyamura away. Then Hori used deodorant spray on Miyamura's body. Miyamura turned and slowly approached Hori, then hugged her. Then he smelled carefully. Obviously identify Hori's scent, but he couldn't tell the difference between Yuki's and Ayazaki's scents. After Miyamura let go of his hand, Hori lowered his head in disappointment. Friends who fall in love know that it is inevitable for couples to have some quarrels. On this day, I came to school. I saw a throw of gauze on his face. Seeing Miyamura's appearance, Yuki's eyes widened. Miyamura said calmly that this was a man-made accident. After a while, he also came to the classroom. She also had aid on her face. Ishikawa was Miyamura who fought back. But it is not. It turned out last night the two of them had an inexplicable quarrel. Hori slapped Miyamura on the face. Because he was excited at the time, Hori turned his head and hit the wall directly. However, this was the same as before. They had long known the reason for the quarrel. Later, Miyamura that he would never give in before Hori apologized this time. During the lunch, Wei went to the student union room. She complained to Kono and Ayazaki. It's been so long, but Miyamura is still not panicking at all. Ayazaki, since it was not the girl's fault, there was no need to be so angry. But Hori told without even thinking that boys would be more dangerous. Then Hori turned and asked Sengoku if he was listening. Seensure said in this case it would be better to just break up. Anyway, of course, she said Miyamura no longer had any feelings for her. At this time, Sakura also said, even people always by your side in the past may not always be by your side in the future. During class needs to cooperate and put forward learning opinions. Because Hori and Miyamura were still arguing, both of them remained silent. After class, Kawa, who was deeply tortured, hoped that Miyamura would quickly reconcile with Hori. In this state of couple, being the middleman is too tiring. Miyamura wanted to do it too. But this matter not my fault. At this moment, Miyamura's cell phone rang. At this time, sitting outside the teaching building. She didn't know he would do this. She knew that all her fault. But that simple of sorry just can't be said. At this time came to the corridor. Teacher Yasu to Miyamura and asked him if he had seen Hori. She was absent last class and she was nowhere to be found in the health room or locker room. Later Miyamura to find Hori outside the teaching building. When Miyamura see him, Hori burst into tears instantly. Seeing this, Miyamura quickly stepped forward to comfort her. Under Miyamura's warming confession, Hori's mood finally calmed down. The next day he came to school wearing a hooded jacket. But everyone said his outfit didn't suit him very well. At this time opened the door and expressed that he wanted to borrow a textbook. Seeing that Miyamura was also wearing a hooded jacket, he thought Miyamura was imitating him. Yura felt that Miyamura was dressed too restrictively. So he stepped and helped him tidy it up a little. In just a moment dressed up Miyamura as a temperamental boy. Just when he was Miyamura how to pose, Hori couldn't bear it and kicked him out. Not long after left, President Sengoku came over. It turns out kind of outfit is against school rules. He just met Yurode. Jingura told Miyamura and Jingura would dress exactly the same today. Therefore he had to remind Miyamura. During the lunch, Hori saw Miyamura's hat turned over, so he stopped him and helped him tidy up. But Hori felt something was wrong, so he leaned closer. Sensing Hori, Miyamura immediately distanced himself from her. Then he changed it and kept Hori away. The next morning Miyamura changed back into his previous clothes. Hori pulled a deserted alley. Then she took his and smelled it. After smelling her scent, she smiled with relief. It turned out that already smelled that yesterday's hoodie belonged to someone else. Later Miyamura said to Hori that the clothes belonged to Shindo. He wore it because he had forgotten to take it with him when he spent the night at his house. But that piece of him was obviously washed, and Hori could easily tell it. This made him very incredible. Valentine's coming soon. In order to prepare a gift for his beloved senior, Sawada came to Miyamura's house. She sent him there. However, Miyamura had no intention of appreciating it, and just wanted to ask Sawada to leave quickly. But no matter how he tried to persuade him, Zetian refused to leave. She had to ask Miyamura to tell her what color ribbon Hori liked. She even didn't hesitate to directly threaten Miyamura for this. In desperation, Miyamura had to tell him that Hori liked red and orange. At school the next Miyazaki was curious whether Hori would give Miyamura chocolates on Valentine's Day. Hori said that no such plan. After all, Miya's family owns a cake shop, so the cakes he makes are definitely not as delicious as his. Besides, she's good at making desserts. Miyamura wouldn't be if he received a bad gift. However, Ayazaki's taste is not important. As long as it is by Hori himself, Miyamura will be very happy. Then several people to meet Miyamura and Sawada in the corridor. Afraid that so would reveal what was bothering him, Miyamura hurriedly stepped forward and dragged Sawada away. Afterwards, Sawada came down from upstairs angrily. At this time, I called her. It turns out that girl is in the 3rd grade. She has a scene she likes. Valentine's in a few days, so I wanted to inquire about his situation through Sawada. Sawada thought. In the 3rd grade, some guys she knew were Liu Mingyin and Miyamura. At the lower level also be Ishikawa and Sengoku. However, the girls, she had never heard of any of these names. That's right, this couldn't even know the student council president. I have to say, President Xianxue did was a huge failure. Zetian thought a boy he didn't recognize, so he had no choice but to express his helplessness. But the girl told the senior often wore a hooded jacket. Zetian was shocked. She didn't expect one would like the idiot Jingpura. Seeing Sawada excited, the girl thought she also had a crush on Yura. Zetian quickly did. Then she repeated to see if she was serious. After learning James, the girl immediately blushed with embarrassment. Later, Sawada that Yura didn't have a girlfriend, so there was no need to worry. If she wants to, she can help ask about Jinpa's situation. After class, Sawada came to the student union room to inquire about the situation. Knowing that he had to receive chocolate, Jingpu was instantly full of desire to survive. He told Sawada was not allergic, and he was not picky about food. As long as he likes to eat any flavor. After returning from school, Hori started trying to make chocolate. After a confusion, Hori's homemade Valentine's Day chocolates finally took shape. Then she gave it to him to taste. My brother-in-law said very honestly that it was not delicious. Later, Hori's mother also tasted it. The two laughed and said that this taste depends on personal preference. The next day, Diak Liang came to school. She felt that she had no talent for making desserts. After Konos tasted one, she felt that she didn't need to worry too much. After all this, so it's okay to make it hard. Besides, the most important thing is the mind. She doesn't have to be as beautiful and delicious as the product. The time has come. Valentine's Day. Miyamura prepared their gifts for many people. So much so that more to boys than to girls. This left the girl, him, and Hori speechless for a while. Sawada hugged and presented him with chocolates, made by himself. Even the package type that Hori likes. In the student union, he also made chocolates and gave them to Sakura Kono and Ayazaki. But as soon as I boxed, there was a strange smell. The two people quit that they would save it to eat when they got home. Not long after he left, Kono Sakura chased after him. She handed the gift pair to Yuki. When I came to Miya's house in the evening, Miyamura took out the cake he made. Seeing Hori eat happily, he felt relieved. Miyamura said he only planned to wrap the cake. After all, it's appropriate to have such a simple Valentine's Day. However, Hori's expression changed instantly, because she completely forgot about wrapping chocolate. After tasting it, said he liked the taste very much, and the chocolate was on Hori's plate. This gave him a reassuring feeling. Later, Miyamura felt a peace. It was indeed much easier than the first time she made it. She became happy. As for the girl Jingpu, until the third grade school she didn't have the courage to give the chocolate away. In this way, Jingpu's schoolmate both missed the chance of sweet love. On this day, Miya was beaten severely by Hori again. Seeing Miyamura fighting, Kayasu couldn't help but think of the encounter with his wife. At that time, Kai was one of the most handsome boys in the school. There are countless girls who have secretly expressed their love for him. Because he had some, he began to get carried away. As a result, this young man learned a lesson from a girl for the first time in his life. This made him stunned. At this time, Yuriko behind him interrupted his thoughts. It turned out that the union had too many things to move. He happened to be near and she hoped he could help. So Kyusuk helped to the student union. The student council at this time is still Sengoku. It's just that the person now is Zai and she's father. Looking at the things two people moved, Xianxue not only didn't have any thanks. He also complained slow movements would delay the progress of the work. Hearing what he said, went up to fight against the injustice without even thinking about it. He ordered Xianxue to say thank you to the girl. Sengoku didn't think that students would come to educate the student council president. So he asked Kai's name in class. At this time, Kyusuk is only a first-year student, and Xianxue is a third-year student who is about to graduate. Then, as the president reminded Kyusuk to wear uniforms neatly in school. Then he said thank you. Afterwards, the two outside of the teaching building. Kyusuk apologized for reckless behavior just now. He failed to consider his behavior might result in her being ostracized in the student council room. However, Yuriko dared. If that was the case, just leave. Afterwards, Yuriko introduced herself to Kayasu. Looking at this flawed girl, Kyusuk couldn't help but feel a little moved. In this way, the two gathered to chat from time to time after class. However, as Kyusuk's school sweetheart, their intimate behavior will naturally arouse the jealousy of other girls. So when school was day, a girl who liked Kyusuk stopped Yuriko at the shoe cabinet. She ridiculed Yuriko's third-year student who was not worthy of Kyusuk at all. Seeing Yuriko's look, the girl instantly became even more angry. She kicked the shoe angrily. She then warned Yuriko to stay away from Kayasu. However, the scene had to be seen by Kyusuk, who was passing by. So he stepped forward, pushed the girl away, and then wanted to teach her a lesson. Just when he was about to take action, Yuriko stopped him. She told Kyusuk to touch girls. But as soon as she slapped him directly. It was this slap Kayasu realized that Yuriko was beyond gentle. She is also with a fiery personality. It was this slap that realized his relationship with Yuriko. On this day, after clothes, I found that there were no clothes to change. So she wanted to borrow from her father to make do. However, Dad said to not have cute clothes. And for Hori, his clothes were too baggy. It just so happened this time my younger brother came to show off the toys his mother bought. The moment he saw his younger brother, Hori directly took off his clothes. This behavior shocked brother. The father next to him that his daughter had bad thoughts about his brother. Hori quickly said, just wondering if he could wear his brother's clothes. The father looked at it, said that his brother's clothes were too small. And Hori seems in some weight recently. Hearing this, Hori lost his temper. She turned around at brother's room to find one to try. Dad is also with excitement, and doesn't think it's a big deal. He quickly called his son-in-law to come over and admire it. Soon after, Hori out of the room wearing his brother's clothes. However, the moment Miyamura, Hori immediately blushed and hid. After learning that it was father who called Miyamura, the father and daughter started their daily bickering again. At this time, Jia had already prepared dinner. Looking at this live atmosphere, Miyamura couldn't help but feel the fun of rising up again. The next day, Hori and Miyamura were doing homework in their room. At this time, the young suddenly walked in and asked the two of them to play outer space games with him. The rules of the game are: you can only survive on the blanket. If you go beyond the boundary, you will die from lack of oxygen. As soon as his young walked in, Hori slapped him and pushed him out. Later, the younger brother on a pillow. He said he's successful on the lifeboat. This time he will turn into motivation and take revenge on his sister. Miyamura couldn't cheer for his brother. But this made Hori angry. She thinks the male protagonist is a traitor. Just when Hori was to deal with the traitors, his younger brother had quietly sneaked up behind them. Then he raised the knife and struck it down with a hammer. A second ago he was enjoying the joy of revenge. But the next second he forced into a corner, unable to fight back. After dinner, my brother in the kitchen. Looking at the dishes, he stood on the bench and started washing them in order to help his family share the housework. Soon after, Hori's door opened and walked in. Seeing this scene, Hori began to criticize the state without saying a word. Seeing his sister lose temper for no reason, the younger brother suddenly felt aggrieved. He burst into tears. At this time, Hori explained that he said this to him because he was afraid that he would get hurt. At this time, Miyamura heard Hori's voice came to check. After learning what happened, Mara felt that what Hori did this time was indeed inappropriate. My brother just wants. However, he didn't expect. Just after his brother was coaxed, Hori started crying again. At this moment, even Mara couldn't help but want to cry. He hurriedly coaxed the siblings. After Hori calmed, Miyamura apologized to Hori. Maybe he really went this time. Hori said that he must his side. Miyamura said that he her side. But if she really makes it, I will criticize her severely. The next day, because his composition was praised by the teacher, he took it home to show off to everyone. The topic of the composition was my family. But what everyone didn't was that the family member he wrote about was my brother. At this moment, the male protagonist a death stare. On this day, Miyamura at Hori's house and asked her to go to school with him. But yesterday I was talk show until early in the morning. Therefore she is still lousy state. After waking her up, Miyamura asked Hori to quickly go to the room to change clothes and prepare to leave. Miyamura and his ball watched the morning news at the dining table. However, by the time that was over, my brother-in-law had finished his meal. Hori didn't come out of either. Seeing that time was up, Miyamura hurried to Hori's room to check. Looking at Hori's Miyamura picked up a comb and combed it for her. Soon after, Miyamura at the door and waited for Yui to come out. At this time, Hori found that he had become a bald head. She quickly ran out to Miyamura what was going on. It turned out that when Miyamura was combing her hair just now, he gave her a bun on a whim. However, Hori said that style did not match the uniform. Hearing this, Miyamura was a little disappointed. After all this was managed to do for her. Seeing Miyamura's Hori decided to go to school with this hairstyle. After arriving at school, his meatball head was indeed praised by everyone. After seeing it, Yuki wanted to tie one of the same style. It's a pity that her hair is short and can't be tied up at all. Coming to the corridor, he saw Hori's hairstyle and thought it was very cute. After receiving praise, when Hori happily came to Miyamura to show off. Hori hopes that Miyamura continue to tie her hair in the future. Miyamura thought for a moment and said that he would wear a braid next time. However, because his hair dyed, Hori felt a little chilly on his neck. So Miyamura subconsciously touched her hair. But the next second he was hit by Hori. Because she was afraid that Miyamura would mess up her hair. During recess, rising the student union, she expressed that she was of Miyamura's hair. His hair will not have hair, nor will it get stuck when combed. This is really infuriating. Upon hearing this, he immediately gave her a bad idea. After the hair is tied, it will remain raised for a period of time. It would be fine if she's method. The next day, several came to the student union room. Because not long after one will graduate. Therefore, things need to be neatly in the student union room. At this time, Jinpoo found the box on the top of the cabinet was crumbling. So he took it down. Ishikawa also helped pack and move the box easily. Kono Sakura quickly expressed her gratitude to them. After all, she really didn't have that much strength. But the Immortal Stone neck was not very happy. Because the shaky box now was the one that Immortal Stone had finally moved up. At this time, Hori and Aki, who had gone out to take out the trash, returned to the student union room. Lu Mingyin came here with them. It turned out that Ayaz had just thrown the phone into the garbage dump when he was taking out the trash. As a result, Lu Mingyin took the phone. Seeing everyone cleaning the student union, he said that he could also help. Then he casually picked a box that was blocking the road and moved it to the corner. This makes the already Immortal Stone even more sad. At this time, Miyamura moved the box to the student union room. Seeing an adult education magazine inside, Sakura Kono quickly asked what was inside. Miyamura said that Yasuda confiscated things from students before. Because Yasuda couldn't, he asked her to move it and return it to the students. Then Yuki was also asked by Yasuda to carry a box of things. Seeing her struggling, Lu Mingyin quickly stepped forward to take it. After everyone finished, Yura picked up a postcard on the table. He turned around and looked people as if everyone was at the beach. Seeing Jinpa's yearning, one was very moved. They agreed that after graduation and getting their driver's licenses, they would go to the beach together. Soon they really ushered the graduation ceremony. After school, they went together as before. Perhaps they will never set in that land filled with youth again. But the time of youth will deep in their memories forever. The next day, while Mia was still immersed in sleep, he received an urgent call from Hori. Hori is very anxious for Miyamura to come to his home. However, as soon as Mia hung up the phone, he fell asleep again. When he finally arrived at his house, 4 long hours had passed. To make up for being late, he brought a bunch of desserts. He tried to win Hori's kiss. However, as soon as he stood at the door, he found that Hori had not yet appeared. Just when he was confused, his voice came from behind the door. He said in a panic that he brought a cake and hoped that everyone could taste it together. After hearing Hori's he finally let go of his worries. But soon he was shocked sight before him. Unexpectedly Hori cut long hair on a whim. Seeing the huge change in front of him Miyamura while before he remembered to praise her for her beauty. But it was this second of hesitation that made Hori think that Miyamura disliked him. She doesn't want this either, but there was a miscommunication between her and the stylist, so her hair became the same length as the boy's. In order to comfort Hori proposed that he also wanted to get a haircut. So when Kayasuk came home he saw the two of them who had cut their hair short together. He thought it was Hori who was tricked, so he pulled Miyamura over and asked him what happened. Miyamura had no choice to tell the truth. At this moment even Kyo was speechless. He had to ask Miyamura aesthetically if he was not used to such ultra-short hair. Miyamura touched his bare and felt something strange. But ever since I got together there seemed to be more and more strange things happening. He's already used to it. Amid everyone's noise and about to say goodbye to everyone. I hope Hori and Miyamura story will continue to be so sweet.